Oh man, welcome to Derp with Kurp, one of the worst podcasts there is. I'm your host, Kurp Mebsger, and I got a great guest though, Chris Knowles, who I think I just saw on Higher Side Chats. Chris, was that what it was? Talking about Ellen's old girlfriend with the suspicious deaths and the
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, Chris, tell me about your background because you tell me you're from Jersey,
hmm
and then you worked with Smigel a little bit. How'd you get into this stuff?
I don't know. I grew up in a town that was basically run by the mob, and there was all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So I kind of got a
dude.
Crash course in corruption from a very early age. So
my parents are in garbage, dude, and for years in Tom's River. So in the 90s, when they, that was like the Sopranos mob that went to court in Tom's River, and then I worked for the Donardi brothers, who were not, their dad had been a mobster, but he got killed. And they were, there's so much money in recycling, and they were not like doing anything with the mafia. It was so much money from this scam of a thing of recycling. When you see it up close, you're like, oh wow, everything works just like this, like a mafia thing.
Yeah, when I first came down to Jersey, I actually went to work for a guy who I call the real life Tony Soprano. He's like started off in construction and cement mixing, and then he was a boxer, and then and then I found out like this city was like all the big restaurants were all owned by different members of the Bonanno family, but they all got cleaned out by Rudy Giuliani back in the 90s, right? So
all the mobsters with podcasts speak surprisingly well of Giuliani. I find out like no, you really did a good job fighting the mob. I mean, we got fucked up.
It was a trip, man. Though that was like that was culture clash, because I grew up like my stepfather's Italian. I knew all about like traditional north of Boston Italian families, but when I came down here and I started working for that guy, I was like, holy moly, this is a whole different world. So,
yeah, Jersey's a very specific Italian, I would say.
Yeah, different vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up my way where God sent the hurricanes after Jersey Shore came. I just say I met many of those Guidos. They were all very likable at the time.
I love Italians, man. I'm a big fan.
I prefer them to. I'm sure I like them better than actual Italy Italians, which is not the snobby way that all. But I don't know them to wear speedos and shit and like that weird.
I was just in Little Italy for my my nephew's wedding a few months back, and I'm standing on McDougal Street, and these real Italian girls, like 5 or 6 of them, come down the street, and they're all singing Volare in unison, and I was just like, oh my god, like I'm in a 60s movie.
that's Italian, all right.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, and they were singing it in Italian too, right?
Yeah, that's about as Italian as being at the San Gennaro Festival with a bunch of Italian broads singing. So okay, this was before we came on because we started talking before, and then I said we should probably start the show instead of. But so just before I was texting with Shane because the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Now, dude, I don't know when this became a controversy to play Saudi Arabia, but for many, many years, all the and very close to 9/11, in fact, pretty soon after 9/11, like nobody said no to doing this. I recall Saudis being an ally. I mean, I know their behavior's bad, but I mean, I wouldn't throw stones, considering what we got going on right now. And then I also know that Jamal Khashoggi's not a fucking journalist. He worked for Turkish Intel. He's related that Adnan Khashoggi fucking arms dealer who's connected to Epstein. Whitey Webb's research into Adnan Khashoggi. So all the reasons are all bullshit. Most of them I think are like weird. Either Shane just didn't need the money, I'm sure, and didn't feel like going there. Like, and I think that's why he turned it down. He told me is like, sounds like he was trying to be funny, saying don't do 9/11 because you're leaving a lot of people out of that team if you just go to the Saudis. Do you ever remember like why do you think that's a controversy right now? I'm really baffled by it.
I think everything is a controversy, to be honest with you. People are just irritated all the time, and if they can find a way to lash out at somebody else, they're going to do it,
Oh yeah. So this is like somebody's got the jellies to Now, I wouldn't judge anybody because I play a lot of blindfolded, eyes wide shut parties. As a, I wear like a white jacket. Anyway,
do you have to wear a
just
mask
listen to
though? Do you have
weird-
to wear like your little Venetian mask when you?
Hey, yeah, and I call out Charlie Sheen and like Macron's wife's dick at the part. You know, I keep it fun. I can only hear it. You know, I got my type of smells and sounds. It was maybe like the piano player there. Like I just have to do crowd work with a blindfold. Like anyway, it makes me laugh. This fucking moral stances with stand-up comedians, or that a lot of it sounds like millennial fucking. You didn't make it in comedy jealousies to me very much, and also because the economy stinks and nobody could buy a house. And you only are allowed to own your own gender that you make up. And that's all you're allowed to have now. So I'm sure that has something to do with it. But what are you gonna put? I'm putting sanctions on the Saudis for not like shut the anybody like sanctions, you're a dipshit. I really you're probably my age, right? Close to my age.
I'm almost 60, dude. I'm old as hell.
Oh, well, I'm 48.
You're a baby. Living. You're a baby.
I'm just a baby.
Yeah, I'm 59, man. They're ready to send me to the glue factory, I think.
Oh, what was that? Oh, yeah. Well, I think this new Saudi thing is so bizarre for that to come out of left field that you're mad about anything with them. And it's always everything I notice around, the Gaza thing. There's constant like weird distractions that feel very on purpose to me. Because I know, the guy bought TikTok. Larry Ellis just bought it, which I thought he already got all the info. I thought he already got all the data from that previously. I don't know.
You can never have too much data, Kurt.
That's very true. So when you talk about Anne Heche, could you just explain a little bit about the Anne Heche thing? Because I've only very recently even thought about it, looked at it, and it was pretty interesting, dude.
Well, I don't even know how I got started on it. I remember when that happened, just like I was like everybody else, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? This is screwed up. Clearly something badly amiss. But then I got distracted by something else. So, I mean, my whole thing is like I always wait for the dust to settle before I really start digging into these, because there's so much disinformation and bad signal to noise ratio. So anyway, so I started looking into it, and since a lot of what I do is I look a lot at like ancient ritual calendar and festivals and all these kind of things, and I noticed that all these points in the story sort of lined up with, what they call the dog days, Sirius, the heliacal rising of Sirius. But also runs into what's called the Hecatean Ides, which is an ancient witchcraft festival to the goddess Hecate. And that, when they started carving her up, that was like the first day of the Hecatean Ides. And in the ancient world, these people
carving who up? Sorry. What did you say? When they started carving?
When they carved Anne Heche up.
Oh, after they. Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, like. We're hearing these stories like she was going to make it, and she was in stable condition and all these kind of things. And all of a sudden she's dead, and everything just didn't add up to me. Everything just seemed askew. And when you see that, there's always a cover up. There's always something else going on. And then when I think the thing that really broke through with me when I watched that video of like she's strapped to this gurney, and then she kind of rises out of it. But it wasn't even that. I mean, that's bad enough. But just the way that these firefighters were just manhandling her, and she was clearly afraid. She was clearly trying to get away, and
they're not calming her. They're not. They're like, get back in the bag. But they're not like, oh, it's okay. You're gonna be fine.
Did they think she was dead? And the other thing too is that they left her in the car for 49 minutes, which I just can't even wrap my head around.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes, she was in a burning car inside that house for 49 minutes, which is just absolutely unconscionable. What? And they said she was. So, I mean, I have my take on it. I think that the car was commandeered remotely.
I was going to bring that up too, like a Gary divorce situation, the writer with no hands, like a lot of people, like the guy that ratted out McChrystal, that sack of shit. from
Michael Hastings, from Rolling Stone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I watched that, and even they had this chopper from like the local Fox affiliate was like, well, they're really kind of taking the time. And that person, I guess they must be dead. There's no rush. And then they take her out and she's covered up and everybody assumes that she's dead. And she tries to get up. Now they said she had like a broken neck or, broken collarbone or something that was very dangerous, but
yeah.
they had the strap, like, which is basically just a seatbelt strap going across her neck. They had her covered like she was dead, and then she gets up and they're like totally unfazed by it. That's the thing. It's like, I always look like, you can never listen to what people say. You have to always have to go to the primary source material. And when I was watching those firefighters, I'm just like, they just don't care about this woman. This is at best, complete and total indifference to human life. But she was clearly trying to get away. And, the thing that really freaked me out though, was when I was watching the video, they just shove her into this one of those
Yeah.
little
I remember
firefighter.
that, dude. You're right. That's
Yeah.
weird as hell.
Yeah.
And they had to do a lot of debunking of it. But if she had such a bad neck injury, I don't think they would shove her. I think they would try to stabilize her and lay her back down. But
Well, they also said she had brain apoxia, but like, how is she conscious? Because if you have brain apoxia, you're going to lose consciousness within 15 seconds. And not only is she conscious, but she's trying to get away. I mean, I think she definitely knew she was in trouble. I think she knew that something was wrong. I think she knew that her car had been commandeered. I knew that she realized that it was just completely screwed up, that these firefighters are leaving her in her car in a burning house for 49 friggin' minutes. I mean, it's just unbelievable to me. Like, the first thing they should have done is just like, attached like a hook to, her axle and just pull that car out of there. I mean, that's the first thing you would imagine any of them would do, because that way you can isolate the fires and all this kind of stuff. Anyway.
well, you got to keep in mind it's LA and California, and we saw how well they handled the last fire. The fire chief might have been a lesbian, a real lesbian, not a fake Anne Haitian.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
There's something seriously, like, I'm like, LA scares me, man. There's something seriously amiss there.
Although I got to tell you, well, the thing is good about Austin, which is not like the cleaning up the homelessness issue, which is quite bad, and it's Manson types. It ain't like, it's not like the kind I'm used to from every bad neighborhood I ever lived in. It's like shocking to me. And but the cops will encourage you to get a gun because they got castle doctrine here. So,
oh my goodness. Well, that's a relief, I guess. That's one good thing about living there, I guess. I mean,
they're real cool about, look, we know we're not able to get to the shit, so don't feel too bad. It's wild. And the thing that's scary to me about like New York, New York, when they had all, remember that guy with the newspaper stand where the guy attacked him and he stabbed him and they tried to put him away? Remember all those, like, where they're punishing self-defense? They're doing it in Canada now. In Ontario.
Well, Canada, forget about it. I mean, Canada's a lost cause as far as I'm concerned.
But yeah, when Mark Carney, I mean, it already was before, but Mark Carney really tears it. And it wasn't Trudeau. I mean, if you follow that, isn't Trudeau in some kind of creepy ass shit too? Trudeau's dad specifically, but of course, young Trudeau. I know he's
the whole family. Yeah.
What calendar were you talking about, by the way, when you said you about these calendars and you're mentioning the dog days and such?
All right, so just give you a little bit, I'll just back up a little. So back in 2000, 20 years ago now, I wrote this book called Our Gods Wear Spandex, and it was sort of at the dawn of the whole superhero thing.
I remember that. Okay.
So, basically the book was about like all these superheroes in their original incarnations were all like clearly modeled on all the ancient gods and all the rest of it. So kind of started this whole pursuit where I'm looking at modern culture and modern ritual, quite frankly, and lining it up with the ancient stuff. And it's really not hard. It's not hard to do once you get the hang of it,
Right.
And so again, like this whole thing with Anne Heche, it's like they kept her alive long enough so they could make it right up to that ritual day, which is, again, the opening of the Hecatean Ides. Now, why is that important? Because on the 14th, which is the first day of the Hecatean Ides in the ancient world, that's when they started carving her up and sending her organs all over the place.
What month?
Now, August.
Okay.
August. So in the ancient world, people don't understand how screwed up paganism was.
No, they don't. Yeah, that dude. I was just talking to somebody about that. They always make you feel bad for the Aztecs when you hear about growing up, and you realize not just the Spanish and I bash Catholics quite a lot, but I wouldn't put it all on them because a bunch of other native tribes who didn't appreciate having their hearts cut out
thousands at a time.
Yeah, and if you saw, people go to those pyramids now and they're so impressed, right? They go, "Oh, I just saw whatever. I can't remember what it's called. The Chichen Itza, the one where." But imagine that with I don't know, 5,000 human bodies being kicked down the steps and there's blood everywhere. Imagine that site with that on it. You might think like we got to take this off the earth too, I bet.
Yeah. I don't think the world really lacks for that anymore. But anyway, in the ancient world,
don't worry, guys.
During the Hecataionides, they would kill these dogs, and then they would carve up these dogs and pull out their organs out of their body and just sort of like throw them around, and people would like almost do like a like a maze or something. They'd march. There would be these marches that would march around all these body parts of these dogs.
Okay.
And it's all because of Sirius being the dog star. It's all weird, sympathetic magic. But when I read that they had started to carve Aunt Heche up on that particular day, I'm just like, all right, something's going on here, and I got to look into this.
Wait, how did they say? They didn't say they're carving her up, though, right? How did they put it when they said?
Well, they said her body's being prepared for organ donation.
Oh, dude, that's so creepy.
Yeah, and Thomas Jane, who was her ex-boyfriend, had said to the press, she's going to be fine. She's doing all right. She's going to make it. And when I looked at, now here's the other thing, Kurt, I looked at the autopsy report, and her injuries did not look fatal in any way, shape, or form. I mean, they said she was badly burnt. Well, she had patches on her upper extremities.
In the video, she didn't look very, very badly burned. I have to say.
She wasn't. She had patches of second-degree burns, which is kind of miraculous, to be honest with you, because she was sitting in a burning car for 49 minutes. Right. Well,
dude, I didn't know that detail until you just said it now. That's the craziest thing. That's wild, man.
It's incredibly disturbing. It's incredibly disturbing. And then the fact that, the house she crashes into, the woman looks uncannily like her, and also had two dogs, right? So Hecate in the ancient depiction is you always see two dogs and a torch, right? Well, the name Ellen, right, comes from the Greek term for torch. So we have all these weird kind of connections here. And also Ellen and Portia de Rossi got married on the Hecataionides. So there's clearly some sort of observation going on here.
Yeah,
Ellen came out of the closet on April 30th, 1997 on an episode called The Puppy Show. So there's our dogs again, right? Serious dogs, dog star and everything.
And lesbians really raise and train dogs a lot. That's just
well, and they were also involved with Best Friends Animal Society, which is an outgrowth of the Process Church of the Final Judgment.
Oh, wow. That name pops up again and again, don't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. Is
the Process Alchemy?
Yeah. So, and also there was I think it was like 5 or 6 blocks away from where Charlie Kirk was shot. There's a branch of the Best Friends Animal Society. Now I'm going to be doing
still around as that, the Best Friends Animal Society.
Yeah, and they're involved with the Gettys too. I mean,
wow.
It's just all this kind of very strange. Like when Ivy Getty was married and Nancy Pelosi basically officiated over the wedding, they said, don't give us gifts, make donations to the Best Friends Animal Society.
Do you think that's real of Nancy Pelosi on the old, what's his name's telephone show talking to Father, if I'm blanking on his name, where she says she has problems with demons, possession, and she converted. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, that's new to me. She's a drunk, so I mean, who the hell knows what's going on with her?
It sounds like young Nancy Pelosi on the phone, and it's my girl was like, that doesn't sound like her. My girl used to work at the Getty. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. And she left at it says like, by the way, anybody who works here, she's an art history major. I think she ended up at HR, but she's trying to be a curator. And it was the most insufferable. It's all these like kind of nepo baby rich kids that they're waiting for their parents to die so they can have a job at the Getty. They extra freak out and wear masks during COVID. If my parents get sick, I can't. Like, are you poisoning your parents slowly? And that's why you're making this big shot. Anyway, They're the
Well,
worst.
the thing about the Gettys too, I mean, the Gettys were involved with Jack Parsons and Marjorie Cameron, and the
Yeah.
Gettys also financed Lucifer Rising by Kenneth Anger. Not a lot of people realize that. Kenneth Anger got the
I didn't
money
know
to
that
make
at all, dude.
Yeah, Kenneth Anger got the money to make Lucifer Rising because he got it from the Gettys, and he also got it from the Ford Foundation, which is another story altogether.
Do you think
So the Gettys are involved in all sorts of
well, they're one of the
very
four
sketchy
families
shit.
of California, aren't they? You got your Browns, the Jerry Browns,
Mhm.
the Newsoms, the Delisandros, and the Gettys. I thought those were the four, like Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, water
Yeah,
families. Some
I
shit.
think the Gettys are at the top of the heap, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
I would. That's where the
John,
governor goes if there's a problem, right? They go under the Getty. That's where there's a bomb shelter. That's like a known. I'm not making that up.
I believe it. I believe it, man.
I mean,
But
it's not a conspiracy. It's a thing that they say.
I believe you. I believe it. I there's nothing I don't believe about the Gettys, to be honest with you.
Well,
But
the
the
extinction people, that stupid. What are they called? Extinction.
Extinction Rebellion. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Getty bitch behind that, and this
Yeah.
broad has not only does she. Let me tell her great quality. She's a Getty. She funds this thing. She has AIDS. She has a biohazard tattoo on the side of her arm.
She has
I'm guessing
AIDS.
she's projecting a little bit. If my like no one deserves to really live because I have AIDS. Charlie, that's what she is.
Well, I don't know, man. that's a whole other discussion. But anyway, back to the
No.
Anne Heche thing. So Anne Heche came out, and everybody was just like, "Yeah, we knew a million years ago." But she came out on Walpurgisnacht, which is the witches' Sabbath,
Right.
and
What's
it
that
was on
date?
the Puppy Show. What's that?
What's that date again?
April
Walpurgisnacht.
30th. April
Okay, right.
30th. So it just all this stuff just kept piling up and piling up and piling up. And then I looked into Ellen's connections with Diddy, and then the death of her DJ Twitch, who
Yeah, that's a good one to bring up too. Her DJ.
yeah, and there was all these weird things with 49 as well, and then like the hotel room that he commits suicide in is number 149, 149.
What is that about? Why with the 33s and the 49s? Like right now is there like a calendar reason that it's 1,033 things to the point of now? I try to ignore that stupid shit because I hate it, and you can't. I'm like, why is this keep coming? We caught the Kirk shooter the 33rd hour. What is that? Like a gang sign?
It's signaling. It's signaling. And it's not meant for our benefit. It's how these groups signal to each other, and this goes back like literally hundreds of years. There are theories that like the chemical wedding of Christian Rosencreutz, which is sort of the origin point of the Rosicrucians, was really a way for all these Templar exile groups to communicate with each other, because they're all sort of isolated in different pockets of Europe after the
It's their Esperanto.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So but the stuff just kept piling up with the Anne Heche thing, and I started looking into Ellen and her background, and of course she's tight with all the usual villains, all the usual Bond villain types, particularly Hillary, right? So you're asking about 49. Liber 49, you're getting back to Jack Parsons, was the book or the paper or whatever he wrote after the Babylon working. So he identifies the number 49 with Babylon, which is, Mystery Babylon the Great from the Book of Revelation. But he also named Babylon, the whore of Babylon, Hilarion. So, I mean, right in the name, there's Hillary, right?
Oh, I thought you meant because women are so funny. I'm joking.
But then I linked. So a few years ago, I had done another live stream on all the weird stuff on the Super Bowl, particularly the halftime shows, stuff that I've been talking about way before anybody else was, going back to like the early 2000s. And 2 days after Super Bowl 49, there was this woman who 49-year-old woman who was hit by a train in her car that was going 49 miles an hour, and she was basically incinerated. Her name was Ellen. Her name was Ellen Brody.
Oh,
Katy Perry had done the whole thing with the sharks, 2 nights before, and it also had the press conference where she said jaws will drop and faces will melt. And
oh
meanwhile, as it happened,
yeah.
this woman was incinerated, and then like 6 other people on the commuter train were incinerated, burned alive. But she was she worked for the personal jeweler of the Clintons in Chappaqua.
Their personal jeweler. I can't even imagine what that must. I remember at the Charlie Sheen roast meeting. Oh, I didn't get to meet him. There's a guy, and this is not in the Netflix documentary. There was a guy. I think it was McGuire and Ferrucci went to Sheen's house because only a couple people would go to his house to work with him for it, right?
Mhm.
And they said there was this dickhead guy that was like his watch guy who would get him. It's my guy with watches or something, okay? Who would get in the middle. Hey, let's make sure you're not messing with my man here. And we were like, what the fuck? And then Chris made fun. He goes, I'm the guy that shows him what time it is. Like anyway, that guy I think is dead, and I think is the one Lenny Dykstra claimed that Charlie Sheen had killed. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds like exactly like the guy that they were talking about. And I'm dying to find out if that guy is dead because he sounded like the type of dude that's shady, that like, oh my God, like when Dennis Wilson was too involved with Manson kind of person, that kind of shit.
Yeah. So the whole thing with Twitch too is that like a few months later, you probably remember this, Obama's personal chef drowns
Yes, that
in
tragic
this little
accident.
inlet while he's paddleboarding. And then it turns out that Clinton's personal chef had died in 2015 drowning. So
Really?
yeah.
Is there any holiday that corresponds to the drowning of the chef?
Not particularly. But my spidey sense tells me this was all related to Diddy. And I think the whole thing with Ellen was related to Diddy. You know how it works. They started sending anonymous tweets, do you have a problem with Ellen? Did it, tell your worst Ellen stories? I mean, it was so clearly a setup. It was probably run out of CIA or somebody like that.
I wouldn't have known, it took me a long time to figure, I didn't know what a cutout was. And I didn't know what, like, when we had John Kiriakou on Jimmy's show, like 2 years ago, he explained the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which makes it legal for the government to propagandize its own citizens. So Obama signed it ostensibly so that we could legally broadcast baseball to Cuba because it was illegal. And they just wanted to be on the what? Okay,
that's the stupidest excuse you ever heard.
Yeah. And who even heard of the Smith-Mundt Act? I hadn't. And the modernization just sounds like, well, they're making it more modern. Like, that's all you need. Okay. And so that's when you started getting all this shit where they could just outright, he deployed people to the internet. I can't remember how many troops. It was like a lot of troops to the internet to do like Indian guys with a room full of cell phones as fake accounts. So remember that dead internet theory, which I still don't fully understand what it is, but I bet you it coincides when this started,
Well, dead internet theory is like just basically the open internet, like the web, the World Wide Web, is just basically being taken over by bots and bad actors and AI. And it's just getting very, very hard to find, good information anymore. I have to use every search engine. Google is almost completely useless now. It's just all ads and that stupid AI thing. Bing is getting there. It's getting to be pretty bad.
Bing used to be surprisingly good.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely an agenda to shut down open exchange of information because that's threatening.
I know, really bit him in the ass, huh?
Well, look at the Digital Safety Act. Whenever you see safety, run for the hills. Whenever you see that word being used by the government, you're in trouble, right? So the Digital Safety Act in the UK, just basically just clamping down on free exchange of open information, but also access to information. And it just makes it easier to just rewrite history, which is happening all the time now.
Well, they don't have to hide stuff. I keep bringing it up every episode, but you can find all this stuff. And it's like not a secret, but there's a weird programming to wait for disclosure, which all that is your master's telling you, okay, you can think about this now. That's all I take it as. I don't need them to confirm or deny what the fuck the Epstein thing was. You know, like
I think everybody's figured it out. Yeah.
Well, this fat idiot Michael Tracy, who I don't think is a paid shill, because I can't imagine anyone wanting him to shill for them. I think that he personally likes teen girls, is my just little theory. And he's like talking about, no, a guy like teen girls, he paid them. What? That's, and then to say there's nothing there when they did that fake binder thing, and on half the pages they blacked out the whole page.
Well, that's typical. That's typical for FOIA stuff, you know.
I mean, like just the fact you did that, I'm just going to assume the worst, motherfuckers. Fuck you. The fact that they're allowed to do that. Why does anyone give them the benefit of the doubt? The insult of that, of getting a thing and the whole page is blacked out. How do you take that insult and just keep coming back for more?
Well, you know, I think people are getting upset about the wrong things with Epstein too.
I want justice for Jeffrey. That's all I've ever wanted.
One of the things that I was writing about, since I write a lot, you know, I've written a lot about science and so on, technology, is the way he and his John Brockman, who was his basically his mentor.
Wait, Brockman or Brockman?
Brockman.
Okay.
He's a guy, goes back. I mean, he was working with the monkeys back in the 60s and everything. He's a very strange dude, but he sort of
with actual monkeys.
the band, the Monkeys. He got Epstein started in this whole idea of like the third society, or the, you know, third stage of civilization would be science and technology based, and it would replace art, and it would replace culture, and all these kind of things, the third culture. And Epstein turned around and basically started recruiting all the top scientists, you know, Marvin Minsky, for Christ's sake.
That guy has always been a piece of shit, Marvin Minsky.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, people don't realize how strange a lot of these people are. Then a lot of them just not right in the head.
Lawrence Krauss tried to lure Rogan to Epstein Island before the second arrest.
What's that?
Lawrence Krauss tried to lure Rogan before the second arrest when everybody knew who it was.
Yeah.
And Joe just looked it up. And that guy's a fucking creep. He's still around.
Yeah, Krauss. Yeah, Krauss had his own issues too.
About 10 years ago. Einstein's like the world's smartest cousin fucker, basically, is how I take it. Schrodinger had a journal of the 12-year-old girls that he would court.
My gosh, yeah.
Because a woman's worthless after 15. That's the guy who came up with. They're all like that. It's a guy with like a weird dick and weird ideas.
Well, you know what it is. It's they're nerds, you know, and nerds have a lot of issues. They sort of get frozen a lot because they have sexual traumas in their youths, you know, particularly like sexual rejection and margin, like they can't get a date to the prom. So they stay in high school. Like they stay in that mindset. They never really grow out of it. And yeah, I think there's a lot of people on the spectrum and everything.
Wait, Epstein really the thing about staying in that thing you just said about staying in high school. Since school's invented to create these like Disney adults, basically, you think that they probably studied that very effective? How can we make people stay in high school in their head forever? Better yet, grade school, not even high school, looks like what they like to push. You know?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you something. When I was writing Our Gods Wear Spandex 20 years ago now, I was thinking, like, where is this going? Like, what is this? I couldn't wrap my head around it because I didn't have the advantage of foresight. And now we see that the whole superheroes and all the genre stuff and just all the cartoons for adults and everything, it was really to just create infantilized adults. And I think that was very successful, you know, because when you have adults,
do you think?
Yeah, right. You know, adults that, you know, like you talked about the Disney adults, you know, they just want to stay like these women, these housewives or whatever. They want to stay 8 years old for the rest of their life. It's creepy and weird.
But dude, in Kathy O'Brien's book, maybe the other one, not Transformation America, her brother, and this is before you heard that term Disney adult, her brother, because he was horrifically molested at a certain age, was mentally, and my friend Barry Crimmins, who's dead now, but did a lot of good helping people that are victims of that kind of shit. He always told me Oprah was no good because when he went on her show, she was like, this is the most male victims of sexual assault ever in one. And he was like, what are we setting a world record? Like, what is this?
Like a
She's like,
celebration. Yeah. She's happy.
Yeah.
Well, she was mixed up with that John of God miscreant down in Brazil too. Oprah's bad news. I mean, she was in with Weinstein. I mean, just everything about Oprah is just bad, wrong and bad, basically. If she's involved in it, you know it's sketchy. What's that?
It's wild to look back at it now because I notice all these people starting to wake up out. I mean, it's basically because there's a certain generation, you know, like whoever didn't know Liberace was gay generation. My dad says they knew, they just didn't talk about it. But there's a thing where like, don't talk about, you know, like my buddy David Jolly, really funny comic. We did a sketch and I was supposed to be like his tech bro. He was like the black president. I was like his Elon Musk that he was beating up. It's because I said something bad about Oprah and Michelle Obama. And it was like, don't everybody ever talk about, you know, like there's a thing where you call, or Italians with Frank Sinatra, take your pick of stupid fucking false idols that they give ethnicities to worship, or Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant died, Ari Shaffir tweeted, I'm glad he's dead or something, because he does that every time a celebrity dies. And I remember, I thought Ari got hacked because everybody's so mad at him for that. I was like, why would you even tweet that? He goes, no, I do it every time. Every time.
Yeah.
I say, I'm glad they're dead. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, I guess you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Now I think good that he did that.
Well, I think in cases like that, you know, like a little discretion is sometimes called for.
Oh, he don't give a fuck, dude. He doesn't give a slightest shit.
Well, hey, that's if that's his act, you know, good for him.
I admire the fuck out of him for that.
So where were we?
Oh yeah, we are.
I totally got knocked off
One
course.
of the worst fucking podcasts on the. You know, I didn't call this the well-run podcast with Kurt. I'd like to point that out yet again. Let me just read some super chats while we figure it out. I'm sure somebody will angrily tell me. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the starred. Let's see. Mike Frank says, thanks for having Chris on, Kurt. I'm a big fan of both of you. Fuck you, dude. No, thanks, man. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. The Archangel 45 it's an honor to see you, Kurpopulous one. I want to give you a weekly reminder that BB is getting slimed in July from the Bible codes. People put a lot of faith in that Bible code thing, and I think I got that dyscalculia or whatever the dyslexia numbers is, because I can't see the importance of it. Even the ones like that 3349 thing we're talking about, I want to not hear about it because I wasn't good at math. It's boring to me, and I can't believe that would be a thing. Okay.
You got to be careful with numbers. People do weird shit with numbers, particularly like gematria and all the rest of it. You know, people just
I can't
try too hard.
Yeah, right. I think this looks like Hebrew, the name, but it says Duro, you keep me sane and educated in Israel. But what do you say about the renew of the British mandate by Tony Blair? What? I didn't know about that. And the cross,
that's true. That's
and
true.
The cross aiders delivering aid. How long till Christianon New Jew war? That's a lot to unpack in that question. I have no idea, dude. I know when I was a kid, and all my little born again friends, I was Jehovah's Witness, invented by as Blair White. Actually, Blair Russell told me this is a live show. Her family, Charles Taze Russell, invented that. Rosicrucians, left path, by the way. You know, all these religions are covens that they build a religion around, and the people have no idea. A lot of them are real nice, and they make great cattle. So
the Tony Blair thing, the thing that he's referring to is that Tony Blair basically volunteered himself to run Gaza once the Israeli army withdraws.
He should wear a pith helmet and stuff. I want him to do the whole nine and dress up like
the Raj in India or something. Yeah. He's really a horrible human being. He's another one like Oprah. Whenever you see Tony Blair involved in anything, run for the hills.
Oh, dude, Jimmy Dore says, whoever you vote for here, you get John McCain. And I say, whoever you vote for in UK, you get Tony Blair. That's a fact. You're getting that, and there ain't nothing else. Let's see. Wait. Jay Hawley, pumped to see you again at Skankfest Riyadh, Kurp. I wasn't invited to Riyadh. Okay. Am I jealous? Yeah. I would be I heard that guy's the best Saudi guy yet out of a country. You know, I mean, way back when he came in MBS, my friends that were Arabs that worked in New York were like, oh, he's like way better of a guy than the previous people. Now, if you're from Yemen, he's not. That's a fact.
Well, the thing with Saudi Arabia is that, you know, they're a one crop nation, basically. They got oil, and that's pretty much it. And they know that the oil is going to run out, or it's going to be hard to pull out of the ground. And all these other countries like Venezuela and even the United States, and, you know, everybody's sort of digging, find their own oil. That's why they're trying to like build all these crazy, basically tourist traps, you know, sort of like modeled
Big glass
on
city.
Dubai.
What's the problem?
Yeah, modeled on Dubai, which
A
is
big chocolate palace, like from the Roald Dahl, Charlie and Chocolate Factory book. The prince, they heard Prince had built a chocolate palace. That's what it reminds me of. Douglas
well,
Manning.
they got to do something, or they're screwed. So basically,
yeah. I wonder how. I mean, anyway, I got to read these. I get so sidetracked so goddamn easily. Okay, Douglas Manning too. It's funny seeing Kurp be the only guy besides Owen Benjamin to call Nick Fuentes a fruitcake. I don't think I am the only one. I think Kino Casino does it quite well. And I think the first guest I had on Josh from Kiwi Farms, and I recommend Kiwi Farms, that you've often heard it maligned, but they do like journalism, some of these motherfuckers on there, way better than a supposed journalist. And I found out shit that connects to, it's wild, the stuff that connects to them, to Kiwi Farms. That's world news. It's actually crazy. Okay, let's see. By the way, Owen Benjamin started his own like fucking homestead called Beartopia, which I gotta say, I don't know if he thought through how fruity that sounded, but okay, whatever. It's fine. Fine. Buy a bear, call yourself a bear and not be gay. That makes sense. Shane Rowell, Ash Derp Ferb CK rant on X today was very derpy. Can you please derp him? Will you ever go on Nephilim Death Squad, Kurp? Me and Sam Tripoli have been doing I gotta set my Patreon up. I'll put the episodes up. Me and Sam go, yeah, of course. I go in there all the time. I don't know about Ash Derp Ferb CK. I don't know if that is like some esoteric language.
I think it's Charlie Kirk. Somebody was saying something about Charlie
Ash.
Kirk.
Holy shit. Okay. I forgot that because I named my stupid show The Derp with Kurp, based on an in-joke from when me and Kyle Dunnigan had a thing, which is like a real silly way to do it. People will start talking to me in an esoteric Kurp.
Dude, I just got to let you know that I'm a huge fan of the Pussies, so.
Oh, yeah, dude, I didn't make that up. Kyle did. And he's not like a political guy. He's an actor who is around those dudes. And the first guy, the first Michael, I'm like Shemp or something, you know. The first Michael, who was better at it than me, they had a falling out because I think the guy is that. He's in some commercial because Kyle's brother's a cop, and you know, Kyle's like he's been in theater, a straight guy in theater his whole life, so he's very attuned to people's emotions and shit when they're like. But he wasn't going to sell his brother out and trash his brother online because that makes no sense. And they had a falling out about it. And I know Kyle, like you would really have to push him for him to do that. Anyway, Jonathan Kelly said, should speak with World War Now about the ritual regicide of the Romanovs, Kabbalah symbols and dog sacrifice during the Hecate festival. Now here's a question, dude. Jonathan, are you like Orthodox or something? I'm sure there was a ritual to kill the Romanovs, but and I speak for myself, fuck the fucking Romanovs, dude. Do you think you can't have these fomented revolutions unless the people in charge suck? Like they don't work. You know, like in Venezuela, we've been trying to overthrow them for quite some time. And if you notice, the people are getting more loyal to the guy because of our stupidity. If the SAR went down, it's because these inbred cousins shouldn't have been running shit in the fucking first place. And that's how whatever monsters came in. Like, so I was like, if I detect a hint of you miss royalty, I go at it. I hate that shit. Sparky, the dystopian future is now. Goddamn right it is. That's why I wear shades. Melody, what does Kurt think of Jezebel hiring witches to curse Charlie Kirk? Yeah, what did they curse him with? An Israeli security team? All right. $1 Million Trooper. I got to redact an army manual for a FOIA request. Oh, anything good in there? I guess you can't tell me. $1 Million Trooper. Turns out Korea doesn't emphasize medevac because, I look forward to part 2 of that. Jeremiah. So are the Freemasons connected with all the Rosicrucian Templar shit, or is that a different thing? I say they're all connected by being stupid in like a GEH, gay secret society. It's all the same shit. Mystery. When you said Babylon mystery or mystery Babylon, does that specifically refer, you think, to mystery school bullshit?
Well, you know, it's funny. I was just having a conversation with about that this morning. Mystery school is not a real term. It was made up by I think it was Blavatsky who invented that term. I know Alice Bailey used it a lot. There's no such thing in the ancient world as a mystery school. It's
it's just
totally
a renaming.
fictional.
It's like gender affirming care for being a galley of Kyblee.
Yeah.
It was all Kyblee.
There's different, it depends on how it's spelled. The original name is Kybel. And then it became Sibylle, because K and C, the Romans were weird about shit like that. But no, the whole idea, there weren't mystery cults in Babylon. It's something else. I mean, I do a lot of work with the Book of Revelation because a lot of it is stellar symbolism. For instance, the locusts in Revelation 9. But I mean, the whole thing is all. The ancient world, they used the stars to tell time. People don't understand that. That's how they knew what year it was, like what month it was. It's that's like they use the stars. And so when you see the star stuff, you say, oh, that's astrology. It's like, no, it's not astrology. It's a clock.
That's guess what? Once you've done that for thousands of years, Joseph P. Farrell, who I'm a big fan of, said this, and it's very interesting. He goes, to them, they said, we've been studying the stars for thousands of years. It's a statistical science to them at that point. I'm not vouching for whatever people do now, but back then, the people that are using that as their entire time, they don't have a nuclear clock or whatever we have now in London. Yeah, no, they're going to take that real seriously. And you should know it just because a lot of stuff's going to be planned around it, up to and including Anne Heche, apparently. All right. Oh, he continued to the Korea one, $1 Million Trooper. They spend much less on training than the U.S. Okay, now I forgot your first part. Oh, Korea. You mean South Korea, or as I call it, North Korea with lights. C. Cest P. Ali G. Matan. What's it going to take to get them in a room together? Sorry, I don't have anything Derp. I hope to catch you in Oklahoma. Me too, brother. Matan, I can't see Matan and Ali G. Because let me tell you about guys that kind of do the same thing in a way. They don't tend to want to be around each other and like each other. If I don't want to bring an opener who's remotely like me, well, that doesn't help me headline.
Yeah, poaching on my land. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Chris Cusimano says, been meaning to ask this for 2 weeks. What's the deal with De Niro spanking DiCaprio in the Freemason Lodge as punishment in Killers of the Flower Moon? I didn't see that movie, and I wish I did because I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, De Niro did the whole Masonic thing in The Good Shepherd too, right?
I didn't see The Good Shepherd either.
There we go. There's the Secret Sun Institute of Advanced Synchromysticism. There's the Secret Sun. Yeah, it's all there, brother. It's everything you need to know is right there. Also,
you brought up Revelation.
What's that?
So you brought up Revelation, and I'm glad you did because Jehovah's Witnesses is big on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now, just long story short, where I'm at about it now, because I used to dismiss it utterly after I left Jehovah's Witnesses. But then when I started hearing people go, do you mind thinking about Rome every day online? And I was like, oh, wow, we're going to hit every beat of Rome, right? And if Revelation was symbolic about Rome, then of course it's going to apply now. Is it like a play to them, like Shakespeare Summerstock? And they think you know what I mean? Like they have the weapons to do all the shit in it, right? And
who are we referring to here?
Well, like when Peter Thiel talks about Revelation and doesn't seem to know anything about Revelation, it seems like to me they view this as like a Shakespeare play that they're going to put on a production of themselves.
I hope not. I hope not. But getting back to what I was saying, I mean, my firm belief is that all the things, these chimeras and these monsters, I mean, even Mystery Babylon in the Book of Revelation are all stellar symbolism because they're saying this is going to happen and this is when it's going to happen. And Revelation 9, for instance, the whole thing with locusts, I mean, it's my belief that something is going to happen during the Draconids, and the Draconids are these meteor showers that seem to come from Draco, which is, the dragon.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a whole thing. I did a whole presentation on it. I can send you some links. I mean, it's too much to talk about here, but if you really start breaking it down, it's actually shocking how direct the connections are. But like I said, I mean, it's not astrology because it's not, most of the constellations aren't on the zodiac. It's just how they tell time,
Right. Yeah.
When this constellation rises, I mean, that's the only reliable source. Like you said, they didn't have nuclear clocks. They didn't even have wind-up clocks. They had, they basically had sundials and egg timers,
And that's probably how you get circular. you get like history being like time being circular is because they're looking at rotations of things, right?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Also, that's before you talk about Sirius B, do you know anything to? I only kind of have heard of it, but the thing of where you focus on Sirius B or Sirius to go to Universe B for a minute to draw power from it because you're the. Have you ever heard that shit? That there's a cult ritual of that. What exactly?
Well, as far as I know, I mean, my exposure to that comes from Kenneth Grant. And Kenneth Grant was basically like Alex Crowley's right-hand man and sort of
Kenneth Anger is Kenneth Grant?
No, Kenneth Anger and Kenneth Grant are two different people.
Okay.
Kenneth Anger's from California and Kenneth Grant was from England. So, I mean, the whole thing, Universe B, he was all into like Lovecraft stuff. Like Lovecraft was all real, like Cthulhu. And I did this.
Is that where that comes from?
Yeah,
that people are saying Lovecraft's real. I just started seeing that not like in the last couple of years. I was like, is there something to that, or is that this one guy?
Well, I mean, it goes back to Kenneth Grant, but I know that Peter Levenda has written some books picking up on that theme.
That's what I think I first heard about it was Peter Levenda talking about it, and I don't remember what he said. I have to have noise to fall asleep. I don't know if that's healthy, but I fell asleep to it, and I didn't retain anything.
Well, Peter's a very nice man, but there are certain issues that I have with some of his, I don't want to say beliefs, but some of his connections and so on. He was in with Aquino and people like that in Las Vegas. And
people I watch that creep with the one ear trying to defend Aquino at this point and be like, he didn't even know how to worship. By the way, that guy Shrek is a Buddhist and a set worshiper. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool.
And he was married to Anton Levay's little daughter there, and
who then did a very bizarre, like the thing with Jordan Peterson and her was so strange to me. And he came into the mothership a couple of times when I was there. I can't remember his daughter's name, but I remember she was laughing at all my jokes. He didn't appreciate.
Xena is her name.
Yeah, and I messaged her a couple of times because I'm curious. I asked Jordan Peterson about hypnotism and stuff because once I found out what these people do and how they look for people you can hypnotize, they look for that.
Easy marks. Yeah.
They look. Yeah, it's carnies and rubes.
Well, that's exactly right. That's everything that Anton Levay learned. He learned at the carnies. Those old carnies, man, they could read people like books.
So there's a very funny comic named Sam Tallent that I like a lot that was just here. And Sam's real smart, like talking about all kinds of shit. And it was funny. He's like, he took me back for a minute. And he was, well, not a lot of Satanists are cool. They're just trolls. And I go, okay, number one, have you ever heard of anybody going, hey, you know who's really cool? Trolls. I've never heard that. But you're adding Satan to it, and that makes it even cooler. And he's from Colorado. Bottom line is he's from Colorado. That explains it all. He's from a high place. And I got to talk to him more about it, but I want to know if they say, if they're Satanists, I find that to be like an atheist Satanist is like, you suck. He goes, no, they just think like they're God. Oh, you mean the worst quality I've ever encountered in any human being? That one where you think you're God?
Yes. Yeah.
And by the way,
the ultimate narcissist expression for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's why
I think the Satanic Temple, though, I think that's a total CIA operation.
Oh, do you think? I wonder if a guy in good standing for many years in the fucking CIA, why would that guy even work there during the height of the Bible presidents, supposedly,
Well, the other thing too is that, well, he was also mixed up with Richard Dawkins of all people.
That I did not know.
Yeah, that's kind of a random. And he also back in the 90s, he Doug Messner or whatever his name is, Lucian Greaves, he was involved in
Dougie, and he's got fake dead eye.
Yeah. He was really big in attacking like people who were claiming ritual abuse and so on. He'd go to like these conferences for people, who were ritual abuse survivors or whatever, and he would just like roast them and just attack people. And he's just a very sick man. And he was also like, the Satanic Temple is all woke now, but like they
went at him though, didn't they, in the temple because he wasn't pro-trans enough? I thought, which I thought was bizarre.
Oh, I haven't kept up with that.
it all sounds
Yeah.
like fluff and nonsense. This Jesse Skibatar fucking that I don't trust as far as I could throw her is I know has connections to him. Like they were twinned at one point or some fucking nonsense. So, and you could, well, I watch everything. So when I watch people talk and you can tell by their affect and stuff that something's off, it doesn't mean that exactly what it is. Some of them were tortured with electricity and that comes out, but the ones that are like blasé about it and they, you just, if you hear enough stories, it's like just the themes repeat. So then you can tell what Legos they built this story out of, and you can tell if it's interesting or not. You just have to absorb the data, I think. I don't know. Mark wants to come in, Chris. Mark,
okay,
because I think he had something he wanted to ask you too.
Okay, go ahead.
Mark, did you want to come in? Oh, there he is.
There he is. What's up, Mark?
Yeah, big fan. I'm glad we shared the screen. Highly recommend the Secret Sun Institute on Patreon. But yeah, Chris, I'm curious, with everything going on recently, what are your thoughts? Because I know you covered some of the X-Files connections on your recent Higher Side Chats appearance, but I'm wondering if we can get into some of that, because, I mean, especially the part about the guy who I'll let you describe it, but essentially, just to jog your memory, the guy who threw this stuff over the White House fence, and this is like out of the next.
Oh, it was a lizard guy. The guy that threw the note. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the same guy that
Odom
shot that preacher with hollow points and the guy lived?
Yeah, 6 times. It took. I thought it was 6 body shots, but apparently it was a headshot involved too. And he said that's how I knew the guy was an alien, because I shot him 6 times with a 45 at point blank range, and the guy survived.
With hollow points. Not since Charlie Kirk's Neck of Steel have I heard something so unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, the two stories, like, kind of, I want to say they really connected, but there were certain like themes at work. There's certain themes. But this Kyle Odom guy, you're familiar with his manifesto and all the rest of it. The thing that really disturbed me is he's saying all this like completely insane stuff, but it's written in a very lucid form. It's not
schizophrenic. People go, it's schizo. No, schizophrenic stuff doesn't have a coherent narrative to that degree that I've ever seen. I don't know. It is just a description of a loose collection of symptoms, not a real kind of disease, honestly.
Well, they don't know what it is. They still don't know what it is, and they can only manage the symptoms. So, I mean, nobody really understands
the white rabbit from them trying to figure out what it is. That's how we got the genchrome.
Yeah. So that Kyle Odom story was, people have just completely forgotten about it. But there are all these, like, that whole thing when he throws his manifesto over the White House lawn, that comes directly from an X-Files episode. I mean, like, exactly, like this guy who jumps the White House
first
fence.
or second?
What's that?
Did he do it first or second? Or
he did it, several years following. I think the episode was like aired in 2001, and he was 2016.
Okay.
There were a lot of weird. Sometimes I wonder if that dude was just like a little bit too heavily into the X-Files, because this whole story basically comes every plot point. Let's just say, because we can't tell the difference between reality and fiction anymore. The two have just completely broken down. But every part of his story was really directly taken from an X-Files episode.
Well, except the lizard people part. I don't remember the X-Files having a reptilian one ever. In fact, I remember when I first heard of tall whites, it took me aback because I'd only heard of the gray, big head Greta Thunberg kind. And then I read in the week, I read this thing of a Farsi language newspaper says Obama is in league with the tall whites. Couldn't find nothing else about no tall whites after that for a while.
Well, dude, there was an episode that aired just a few weeks before he shot that guy that shot that pastor in Idaho. That was about a lizard person.
And it was. I must have not seen
it was called Mulder and Scully Meet the Weir Monster. Now, this is an interesting episode because Tracy Twyman, the late Tracy Twyman, who I was very good friends with, she did this whole thing saying that that episode is actually based on Nicholas DeVere of the Dragon Court. Yeah. And it's interesting because they made him look a lot like, they dressed up that dude, that actor, to look a lot like Nicholas DeVere. And because I remember I'd been following Tracy since the 90s and everything. And I remember she interviewed that dude for her old Dagobert's Revenge.
I was listening to it. Yeah.
Website. Yeah. So
I thought he would look like the Geico lizard based on it, like the original Geico lizard, not the new voice.
No, but there's this whole thing, like just a couple of weeks before that guy shot the pastor. So I don't know, man. But like I said, reading his manifesto, I'm just like, this is just a little too well organized here. This is a little too lucid. This is a little too self-aware. He's like constantly saying, I know how crazy this sounds. I know what this sounds like, but it happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
my buddy Andy Hunt, Control All History, I plug all the time. He has collected so many great things, especially with that, and especially with the 2009 Reddit Star Child leak. So in 2009, when Diddy news was first coming out and people were saying things and it went away and everyone forgot. Long story short, this guy might have been Boners to Bone from Growing Pains who wrote this, who was Star Child, the son of Walter Koenig, because of details in it. And if you go back and look, like Gene Roddenberry, I played that clip a bunch on shit on people's shows where Gene Roddenberry sounds weird as hell, the shit he's talking about.
Is that the one with the little girls in their little skirts and everything?
I didn't even get to the part where he says, I owe everything to the devil. I didn't even see that part, but apparently that's in that interview.
Yeah, well, I did a huge thing on Star Trek about 10 years ago. I mean, first of all, Gene Roddenberry's creation of Star Trek is questionable at best.
I thought that too.
Yeah. A lot of people in that inner circle would always sort of chuckle when they were being interviewed, and they'd say, well, Gene Roddenberry created Star Trek, one of which was Leonard Nimoy, burst out laughing during an interview.
Who did create it?
Well, I think what my research showed is that a guy named Leslie Stevens, who created the Outer Limits back in the 60s, he created a bunch of different shows. I think he created it was either I Spy or It Takes a Thief, one of those. I think he was involved in the creation of McCloud. He was involved in the creation of Battlestar Galactica. He was involved in the creation of, what was the name of it? Buck Rogers. So Gene Roddenberry just had this, like, basically a glorified napkin sketch with like the stupidest ideas for stories that you ever read. And then he's hanging around with this guy, Leslie Stevens. I'm hearing, what am I hearing?
What is that?
Is that you, Mark? I'm hearing a lot of activity.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so Gene Roddenberry was an absolute disgusting.
Mark, is your mic on?
I don't think you can hear us. Gene Roddenberry was a pervert and a drunk and a drug addict and a rapist and a sexual pest. He was just
the president.
Yeah, he was a horrible person, and his actual involvement in the series itself is questionable. And there are a lot of other people who created a lot of things that he got credit for. So
yeah, he wanted his girlfriend, his mistress, he wanted Majel Barrett, whatever her fucking name was. And when feminist, before the blessed trans killed feminism, thank you, trans women, before they did that, there was all this like Gene Roddenberry, they wouldn't put a woman as the number 2 on the day. They were trying to make it a feminist issue. No, the producers didn't want his fucking mistress on the show, which is smart of.
Well, he had a lot of mistresses. So.
Yeah,
he had a lot of them. One of them was Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle Nichols was one of his mistresses.
Is that right?
Who played Uhura? Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, back in the day, man,
he was a piece of work. So everybody was freaking out when they watched that video. It came up like a month or two ago on Twitter, and I'm just like, yeah, I've known about this guy for 30 years. He's always been bad news. But,
it's funny. Some of these people, they're bad. Like the Hunter S. Thompson shit. When I first heard it, Jason Burmis was telling me, because I didn't know Franklin Scandal or anything, and I was talking to Jason Burmis, who made Loose Change, and he goes, "Yeah, well, Paul Bonacci said this," and he wasn't saying it like he believed it. I go and look at it, and then I read the eulogy from his assistant who said he kicked her out for not watching a snuff film with him. She was not exposing him. She was saying, he was a crazy guy. That's the most eerie part of it, like how Carol Quigley, when he wrote Tragedy and Hope, was on the side of the New World Order. So it's extra like a layer of creepy.
Well, let me just tell you,
he sucks.
I'll tell you a quick story. I knew this guy when I first moved to Jersey, when I was working at that mobster-owned restaurant for the real life Tony Soprano. This guy was a coke dealer, And he had spent a week out at Hunter S. Thompson's place. It was either in Wyoming or Montana. I'm not exactly sure. It's 30, 40 years ago I heard the story. But anyway, he said that, Hunter S. Thompson would just be up for a week all night, and then he'd just be like screaming nonsensically and like shooting at trees, and just, had all these guns, and all these like people in the house, like just random people that nobody knew. A lot of them were dealers. And, this guy, I don't want to say he was my friend, but, somebody who I was associated with was, obviously coke dealer. He was like, he toured with the Dead and everything. And we ended up having the FBI surveying our house back in the day. So, well, because this idiot would come over the house and arrange coke deals on our phone. And
some guys moved. The cops are this morning. I got almost no sleep because last night or this morning there was like not a full SWAT team, but cops in SWAT gear. Like 3 dudes that all look like Kodak Black moved in the house behind mine. Miami. Well, like, what about G? I couldn't understand what he said. Now I've been around all kind of grimy ass fucking drug people, so I was actually at first relieved because the homeless problem in Austin is so bad that these guys were going to be scary to the Charles. I live in New York for 20 years. I live in LA. In New York, especially, a gang. Was not a gang though. A gang-run block. If the gang is not just a collection of idiots and they're a gang, it's in their interest to keep you safe in their neighborhood. You got to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
That's what, when I lived in Washington Heights, that was the thing. Like, in fact, the guy we get weed from goes, "Listen, man, I'm getting transferred up the." He said it like he works at a corporate, because I'm getting transferred up the block, and I'm from here, so the new guys aren't looking out like how I was looking out. Just a heads up, which is funny as shit to me. Like the business, like. Anyway, these guys are not like that. They're out fighting. It's real Florida dumb, and it's always like 2 guys with no shirts fighting with a fat bitch crying in the background. And I'm just like, oh man. And I don't know what they're slinging, but if you were smart, you would just like keep a low profile. But somebody had a warrant. I don't know why I have never lived right, but it's perpetual wherever I am at. This is happening. These drug people, when I see a new thing I haven't seen yet, it scares me. So like you think you know how drug people are, but then if you're around them, and Hunter S. Thompson said you can never turn your back on a drug, right? I remember when we saw Fear and Loathing and Adrenochrome. Now I had seen the other one, the
where the Buffalo Rum,
and I saw that also when I was younger, but I didn't really remember it. But I'm like, what's Adrenochrome? And at the time, this before like, you'd go to that all the druggies had a book of like pharmacy things to test to see, and I couldn't find really anything on it other than it was something study as a cure, something with schizophrenia. It's a precursor to mescaline from adrenaline. I thought it was something like that. I was like, oh, couldn't find it. Later, I looked it up, and they were like, oh, it's made up. Okay. No, it's not. It turns out it's and going back to the Aztec thing or the Iroquois or the what are the I can't remember the ones that fought the Iroquois in Canada. Mohawks. They would do martial. How that De Vere guy talking about martial.
The Mohicans, yeah.
Yeah, martial vampirism. What De Vere was talking about in some interview where you're in the field and you drink their blood. They're doing ritual cannibalism. These native tribes on people they captured, and they're getting a rush out of something with their blood and probably mind over matter, but that cannibal thing of getting your strength and this and that. But they're drinking adrenalized blood out of people that they're terrorizing and torturing. So that's an old native practice, right? Then I hear that in World War II, they didn't have enough morphine or something. Some enterprising medic was taking out adrenal fluid and using it, or something where the blood that had morphine in it from somebody else, he would put in somebody. You ever heard anything like that? And they started studying it from combat situations.
Yeah, wow.
And then there's those doctors who experimented with it. I can't remember their names. The 3 doctors that were experimenting, and Aldous Huxley came to visit one of the doctors, and they described it. The dude, they were injecting it, actual adrenochrome, not a made up thing. There's a thing called that. An EpiPen that goes bad, I believe, is adrenochrome, isn't it?
I don't know about that, but
Just oxygen,
EpiPen is
adrenaline.
adrenaline. It is an adrenaline precursor. So,
When
isn't
it
it
goes,
like
the oxygen hits it, it goes bad, and it looks like red powder. Did you know that? The fucking an EpiPen. So that's why I don't understand why they need a human.
No, Mark has.
I think the rumor is that in World War II or maybe even World War I in the trench warfares that the EpiPens would expire and the soldiers would still use them because they were low on resources. And that's when they discovered, oh, there's something strange
Did they all have nut allergies in that war? Why did they all have EpiPens?
I don't know why EpiPens
gas or something
an issue, but yeah.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, it's a thing I'm curious about because I heard about that from Hunter S. Thompson, but the doctors that studied it, and I have to go research all these names, off the, because I couldn't find anything. Then I found something, and so I haven't fully gone into the veracity of it. But the doctor said he felt, everything got like colorful, and then he felt just like a lack of, he felt more empathy to like lamps and the rug and shit than to his sister while he was under the effects. Like he'd be fascinated with objects and people he couldn't like. Well, that's a scary thing. I never heard of a psychedelic doing that to someone. That sounds creepy.
Oh, acid, sure. I mean, a lot of people on acid just will fixate on the most random objects and see the universe.
They say they feel connected to other people, though, right? They don't go, I don't feel connected to humans after I did acid. Usually, from what I've heard from dippy hippies, is like we're all one. But apparently, and I got to research it, or the effects of this was that people felt less connected to people and more connected to shit, to stuff, is how I took it. Yeah. I don't know if you ever heard anything like that. That's why I'm just asking.
No, I mean, you can sort of see with stimulants, and adrenaline is clearly a stimulant. Stimulants turn people into rageaholics, and
yes, that's right. The stimulant effect, and it's adrenaline, and so
right. I don't know if you knew about this, but like 3 or 4 years ago, well, 2 or 3 years ago now, there was a big Adderall shortage in the United States, and it turned out they were sending it all to Ukraine. So,
because the soldier pills, they can't take the Obama pills we give our soldiers.
Yeah, like apparently the Russians had intercepted this shipment and was like box, and it was like, methamphetamine powder in these big sort of long bags that looks like kind of bags you put rice in or something. So, yeah, I mean,
I'm finally old enough to serve in Ukraine.
Yeah, right. So
you want to ship out to mom? Up?
Well, I mean, soldiers and stormtroopers and also Japanese soldiers. I mean, people really underplay the effects of methamphetamine. Particularly in sort of these shock troops, these elite soldiers were all being pumped full of speed, particularly in World War II.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, I mean, look, it works until it doesn't. That's how these things are. They work great until they don't work no more.
They'll burn out your circuits. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt, I got some kind of damage, dude, from all the shit I've done in my life. I have like, I take a lot of naps. I hurt myself too, so I've been working out. I have to say, when I was real regular doing it, I would feel like way better. And also, now if you're already in shape and depressed, I don't know, then I guess try ketamine. But I had tried that for depression because it was all my LA friends with fancy therapists were getting these inhaling devices that I'd only read about in Kathy O'Brien's book about how Cheney and Bush used them, atomizers to do coke safely, the fine coke, so I tried, and it did help, just a little bit of it. For 2 months, I didn't have that depression, and it supposedly works faster than, I don't know, those connections. It does help with that, and the feeling I got was it was like artificially giving me the distance of time from whatever, because it's dissociative, right? So it's giving me like a feeling of like, oh, that was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, that makes me nervous.
It sounds like a MK Monarch programming drug. Like that, what's his name used to take?
John C. Lilly.
Yo, J.R. Sweet. Everybody look up MormonMonarch.org. J.R. Sweet is a Mormon from Idaho, and his story is wild. And I really want to ask you about this because have you ever heard of anything called the Slough? He spelled it SLUFF, but I think it means SLOUGH, as in like slough off the top. Any occult thing of any Satanism of any kind, and that's a catch-all term I'm using, that was called the Slough, because he has a story about Mount Shasta Okay. Which I don't know if you've heard all the stories about the good guys that live inside the earth. I'm going to guess if they were that great, they wouldn't live inside the earth. That's just what they would probably make us do that if they're so much better than us, is my guess. And I know you got Secret Son. Is that referring to the Kane thing?
No, Secret Son, it's a long story, but it's from a childhood dream, recurring dream that I would have. So
yeah, what is it? Tell me. I blather my dreams on here all the time.
So I would have these dreams that the sun would be out in the middle of the night, and but only like certain people would know about it, you know, like, and it was a recurring thing that I don't particularly understand the.
That's not what Tracy Twyman was talking about, where Kane's locked in a Superman prism and he's the black son of the fucking city of Enoch.
No, nothing like that. I don't want to disappoint you, but nothing that quite that exotic. I'm actually not familiar with that particular interpretation, but
I just discovered her shit very recently, and I'm listening to her.
Yeah,
and I'm listening to her, and I mean, it's like, first of all, it's so fascinating, and then it's like watching a horror movie in a way, because I'm like, wait, what did you do? You know, she like made a Ouija board, then it told her to make a better Ouija board that she did make from a dream.
Yeah,
and then,
like,
oh my god,
I was trying to advise her against doing that, to be honest with you, when she was contacting Baphomet and she was putting the videos up on YouTube and everything. That never ends up well. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
you think from putting it on YouTube, you don't think it was that camp thing?
No, listen, it's a whole long story. I did a rather lengthy.
I started to watch one where you and two other guys were talking about it. I think not that
well. Yeah, I mean, Tracy was very troubled. You know, she was a very troubled person. She was incredibly intelligent, brilliant.
Yeah, right.
She started doing Dagobert's Revenge when she was in high school. You know, she was.
No, you could tell she's smart as hell, dude. And a lot of things that I only kind of grasped a little, she made them much clearer to me. The thing that was freaking me out was, like, you know, it's like you go on some shady website with no VPN or whatever, you know, like that's how this shit reads to me, is like you're on the dark web with no protection of any kind. And I never at one point, she doesn't go like, and then I turned to Christ because I was scared shitless, like I would have done. I'm like, I'm going with Jesus. Like, and you know, so on the one hand, the research is incredible, because who the fuck would do that? Let's see what happens if I just do this all the way. No,
yeah, not a good idea.
That.
Not a good idea. You know,
well, it's a terrible idea, but it's the, you know,
the audacity, the courage, the
and then
intrepiditude.
Right. The guy from Higher Side Chats I had on last week, and he was like, well, I was telling her to stop going on. You know, online became like a Ouija board for her, is what it sounded like to me, where she's getting gang stalked, and you're like, you got to stop going on there and just stay away from it, you know?
Well, she had sent me, this was like that last summer. She had sent me these videos that she had found on YouTube that were really sick and weird. And you know what they remind me of? They remind me of the video in The Ring. You know, weird, kind of like, you know, and then you end up dead. And I was saying, like, you know, because she was calling all, you know, apparently there was like schools in England that were attached to this. And then there was another school, I think it was in Arizona or something. And I said, well, you know, Tracy, you know, I'm not going to tell you not to look into this, but, you know, cover your tracks, you know, don't let people know that you're watching this stuff. Don't let people know that you're trying to find out about this stuff. It was, you know, you just get pulled into this vortex of darkness, and it becomes a real cautionary tale. But here's the thing. I mean, Tracy was always sort of attracted to the dark side. I mean, she was in with like Zena LeVay and Nicholas Schreck and Boyd Rice and Michael Moynihan and all these kind of like, you know, Nazi Satan death metal kind of people from the 90s and so on. And, you know, none of those people end up well, you know, none of their stories end up well. When you immerse yourself in spiritual darkness, you know, I don't want to sound like, you know, your old Sunday school teacher, Jehovah's Witness, but, you know, when you immerse yourself in spiritual darkness, you know, it's going to come after you. It's going to pursue you.
So
You can't, it's not like a toy. What's that?
I'm in showbiz. I've seen it. I watched people go through it. I already seen how that works. You get caked with material, like But Duncan Trussell, my buddy, we have another show we're starting on Your Mom's House. It's called we did a pilot. It's called As the Carpet So the Drapes. And we Duncan did a comedy years ago at Stanton Levay's wedding at that stupid house. And he goes, everybody's really nice. He goes, but it just like felt like really heavy in there, and not like heavy like sad, like it felt dense. He said, and I'm like, I think I know exactly what you're talking about, dude.
Well, a buddy of mine lived not 2 blocks, 2 houses down from him. I think it was on California Ave. I remember like that house. He was in like a 3-family house or something. He was living in this flat with his girlfriend, and like 2 doors down. I don't even think Levay was still there at the time. This is sometime in like the mid to late 80s. But it was just like a normal kind of, almost like a Victorian kind of house, but it's painted black. And like there wasn't, they didn't keep up. Yeah, they didn't keep up with the landscaping, and it just looked really dingy and sad. And then I think they ended up tearing it down, as far as I know. Yeah, so that was an interesting experience too. That would have been like 86, 88, somewhere around there. But that's when that stuff was still going. But people don't realize that Levay was just basically running a honey trap operation.
No shit. How many more honey trap operations have to be? Once you know what to look for, you're like, oh, everything is that. The Playboy Mansion. That's my favorite. That's where Cosby got originally. The Playboy Mansion on Pig Night. You know about that? That's in Newsweek. I read about it.
Yeah. And everybody stopped going there after a while. I think the only guy who went there was that guy Fred. What's his name from that 80s
Durst?
cop show? Not Fred. No. Durst. I forget his name. It's not important. Just some random 80s cop show.
John Cornelius kidnapped a girl out of there.
Oh god.
And they had to go Playboy to send Playboy goons to get her back. Don Cornelius was a real pip.
Well, there's a story. There was a story, like, I don't know if you remember when the whole cattle mutilation thing was going on. And at first,
what do you think that's about?
I think it was some sort of test, some sort of military test. It might have just been a pure psyop. I don't think it was spaceship aliens or anything like that. I don't think it was Satanists either. I think it was definitely, because there would always be black helicopters spotted in the region when those. Well,
those are all like Mark Passio, my buddy, used to be in Levay Church. He had a grotto in Philly, and he does good lectures about all this stuff. Actually,
I'm familiar. Yeah, familiar with his work.
they de facto, and I grew up that kind of knowing that, like, if the military's de facto Satanists, everybody. I don't know what people think. Like, you're a Christian, and you're not. Christ wasn't about war at all. At all. Nothing about America is remotely Christian. And the reason they had this weird panicked revivals that they have is because I can't remember who wrote this, but he goes, if a future civilization found the ruins of us, they're not going to say we're Christian. They're going to go, this is some Egyptian, Roman something culture. And that triggered, and I don't know if it was in the press or triggered a thing, but it's the same old story. A coven is clothing itself in all the Jesus stuff that you think you like and whatever. They're using it as a cover and a flag. And these things don't go together. None of these things are compatible, and everybody just thinks they are. And one thing I like to really get across on the Derp with Kurp is the shit's not secret. It's shit you think is normal and fine. It's not comic book like. It's real basic and evil, and you watch it every day in front of your fucking face. I'm on a news show. The shit that's on C-SPAN, okay, do you think they go in the woods and drink babies? Assholes. I watch them doing mass satanic blood rituals that you call a police action or war or whatever. They're doing it in front of your dumb face every fucking day. Okay. And the best part of being a Satanist, you don't got to believe in shit. Okay. Believe in you. I just want you to be more of who you are.
I think that's a little bit of a con. I think they are.
That's the war. I'm not saying
spiritual. Right. I think they're spiritual. I think this whole idea, like, oh, we don't really believe in Satan. We believe in ourselves and our highest holy days, our birthdays. I think that's all complete nonsense.
Well, how could it, dude? When I said last time when I thought I might be an atheist, I didn't dress up in a fucking Widow's Peak devil outfit and worship a goat head. I just like live my. Hey, can we just fuck? Do I got to do a whole thing? Like it doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that unless you believed in it. You wouldn't do that shit. And if you're doing it, you don't believe in it, but you want to just put it on me, you're worse. You're worse.
Yeah, I hate all that stuff. Speaking of Kenneth Anger, I'd actually interviewed him like 20 years ago because I actually did a big article on Lucifer Rising, and I interviewed Bobby Beausoleil of the Manson family and Kenneth Anger, and then there's somebody else interviewed Jimmy Page over in England. But
Yeah.
I remember by the time I was done with that article, I was just like, I hate all this stuff so completely. I hate these people. I hate
I say it a lot, dude. I say it a lot.
This weird left-hand path. It's all just sick, but it's all sad. It's all just like,
and it's pathetic. It really
wounded children, like adolescents acting out. There's nothing. And, again, I mean, I knew Tracy for a long time and I knew her history before I knew her. And I knew that she was mixed up with a lot of these people. And I knew that there was it's just a road to nowhere, and it's so weird. Like Nicholas DeVere, like we're talking about with that X-Files episode. He had such an exalted opinion of himself, but he was just like this weird homeless dude who invented this whole, he was like this homeless drug addict from Wales, I think, who invented this whole story to make himself feel better, that, he was part of this dragon lineage that goes back to the Merovingians or goes back to, the Sumerians, and the Anunnaki. And it's just like, come on, it's like, you don't even, you don't have a pot to piss in.
You ever see Jay Parker talk about it?
What's that?
Jay Parker, who, when I first saw him tell a story, it sounded absolutely bad shit, by the way, but it's about Arden, Delaware, which is a creepy ass town. And Joe Biden, by the way, spent a lot of time there as a boy. He actually said his dad. Now, I'm not saying I believe they are this, but I was just trying to figure out what are the stupid cults, like Nexium. Who the fuck would fall for that? Like, apparently, a lot of rich people. My buddy Steve Poikonen said he could go to Hawaii with just a didgeridoo and walk the beach and start a cult. He probably could. Like, I wanted to know what the goofball shit these people believe is. Anyway, Jay Parker, his parents were not rich. They were a school teacher and something else. It's supposedly an arts colony. That's a big giveaway right there, by the way. It's real strange place. You can look it up. He said he was a 9th generation Atlantean warlock, and his mother claimed her descent from the Amalekites, an original Amalekite witch, right? And that's what they thought about themselves. And the church that they went to late, the secret one they went to was called the Church of the Marquis of Hell, which I was trying to find anything I could have, like, was there a name or something? Anyway, his story sounds nuts, but again, it sounds very coherent. It does not sound nuts. Nuts as in Jesus Christ, like not nuts as in like this is gibberish. And they all those themes come up a lot about like the Anunnaki, because a lot of this bullshit. Remember when Sammy Davis and them are in this? This is in the 70s, and this is probably when Sitchin and all them and all those, when all these books come out. These are probably the remnants of old, stupid, redressed up cults where they trot these stories out over and over. The Zachariah Sitchin guy, I think he worked it for Rockefeller or something. That's how
he did. Yeah. He had an office at Rockefeller Plaza. Yeah.
So they put, and what Pazio said, they do this. They put the followers of the old religion. They don't call it Satanism. They call it the old religion, which I think is just paganism.
It's a mix. Yeah.
Yeah. The Alice Bailey method. I keep forgetting who told me, but a friend of mine that works for Alex Jones told me an OTO, the final initiation is invent a religion, like L. Ron Hubbard did. And that's probably all those stupid gay wizard schools. Your class project is you make a fucking religion, because that's a form of mass control. And that's what they admire about Egypt so goddamn much. And that's what they admire about the fucking Dalai Lama. That's what they admire about Hinduism, is a nice caste system where everybody knows their place and they think like a fucking cow. The British love that shit. Oh my God. No wonder the Beatles really took to that, because they love that class shit so deeply. And the Brahmins really get it, Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's right. It's a derp with Kurp, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
Because I can't take my medication anymore.
Yeah, I want to just finish up my story about Levay. So, Jacques Vallée, I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but Jacques
I don't
Vallée,
trust that motherfucker at all.
Yeah, he's a Rosicrucian, by the way.
I figured.
He wrote in one of his books, it was one of the Forbidden Science books, I think, that he was talking about the cattle mutilations. And I guess somebody had approached him and was asking if it had to do with Satanism and everything. And Levay, was insisting that it wasn't satanic and all these kind of things. And he basically pulled out his SFPD special badge, and was saying, listen, I work for the SFPD,
Did he really? I thought he made that up.
No, he didn't.
Much like Elvis.
That was a big part of what the satanic, the Church of Satan, or what, I can't even keep these things straight anymore.
Yeah.
The Church of Satan was, like I said, it was a honeypot operation, and they snagged some pretty big names. I mean, Sammy Davis Jr. was involved for a while, and Jane Mansfield, and some other people. But, so Levay was saying, listen, I know everything that's going on from every Satanist in the country because it's my job. And it's Satanists are not involved in this cattle mutilation thing, which I thought was a little bit presumptuous because, there are all these, groups. I mean, people can just start their own church of Satan.
Yeah, and as you know, Chris, people who follow Satan, they do that because they're really into just following the lead of one guy who asks them and they tell the truth to that guy. That's Satanism. Not people doing their own thing no matter what. I thought that was the whole appeal. Why would there be one guy, the Pope of Satanism, that's going to be able to tell you definitively if that's a thing or not? That makes no sense.
Well, it's a mess. It's all wounded children acting out their youthful traumas, just sort of getting stuck in them and building a religion around their trauma and their depression, their, bipolar disorder. Case in point, Kenneth Anger. We were trying to interview him. We couldn't get in touch with him because he was in jail. He wasn't even in prison. He was just in jail because he tried to beat up the woman who ran the front desk at this flop house that he was staying at.
That's a classic crime.
And this dude was like in his early 80s at the time, and he was addicted to crystal meth. He was a big meth head. And I'm just thinking, like, can you be more of a loser? And we had to pay him like $500 because he didn't even have money for groceries.
I really gave Screech from Saved by the Bell a short shrift because he was doing way better when he met his
Screech. Oh my God, that's a little after my time. Like I said, I'm much older than you. So.
Well, my buddy was in New York was making Saved by the Bell the musical. Okay, and the only original cast member that came was Screech. And Screech was like, I'm not going on until you find me Percocet.
Oh my God.
That kind of shit, where the guy's like in the late stage addiction of like, I don't even get out of bed unless I get my Percocet.
Do you remember that time when he boxed Ron Palillo?
Yeah.
Celebrity boxing.
It was him who fought Ron Palillo?
Yeah, it was Screech and Horshack. Yeah. That was a real sad. And like, Horshack, like this tiny little guy, and you could tell he was trying to like be tough and everything. He just got his clock cleaned.
Well,
remember that between Joey Buttafuoco and China during that whole thing, and Joey Buttafuoco just like flattened her with like one. Just like, dude, what a sick time that was. It was weird.
I didn't watch the match, but everyone who showed up was a loser. Like, just by showing up to that, you've lost the match already. But what do you call it?
You're too young for Joey Buttafuoco. You don't remember.
No, I'm not. I remember Joey Buttafuoco very well. Oh yeah, okay. They made like 3 Amy Fisher movies. Alyssa Milano made one. A bunch of people, and then she would be on Stern. Mary Jo Buttafuoco would be on Stern. And she's like, I'm writing a book
that's
now.
Right. Yeah.
And he goes, next time I'll duck. He said that to her.
When Stern was funny.
Yeah, well, back when he was then you realize, same as like 100 times, you realize like, oh, you were like an asshole this whole time. I know DeBella from when I do Philly, when I play Philly, could be a nicer guy. It really is crazy how vicious Stern was to that poor fucker.
No,
and beyond the pale and not good at all. And everybody rooted for it at the time. And at the end of the day, that's what getting involved in the occult is all about. Getting people to root for your fucking evils that you do. And then at the end, when you turn into a weird old lady, hopefully you have enough money to maintain the insanity, the black cube of insanity you live in, which is what I watch them do. People like are in these, they build their own Saturn cube It ain't all coming from Saturn. They get to collaborate. Don't think that you don't get to collaborate in your prison. And I watch them. And people can only stay in their fucking thing. It's amazing.
Well, I've always thought that Stern's numbers on Sirius, they're Sirius again, right?
They come with the car. It's for a while now. They've been
but I've always thought the numbers were just completely inflated. And if you look at this stock price tanked 15 years ago. I mean, it was basically a penny stock. I mean, yeah, it comes with your car, but how many people retain? We had Sirius come with our car and did, we're just like, this sucks.
Well, why were they able to get away? So what I find amazing is a lot of these things that suck that have just been on and they don't get the ratings, and they become like almost like British state-run broadcasting with the level of it's on.
I mean, like Jimmy Kimmel?
That's Chris, that's exactly what I was going to say. I figured once the USAID money ran out, there was no more Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh my God.
It became very obvious to me a long time ago, as somebody as a writer for a lot of shit, that and I remember ratings. I used to be on a cartoon called Ugly Americans a long time ago, and I remember our ratings, like our best were like a 3.8, which like now would be tremendous, but back then they're like, these ratings have got to be better. 3.8 million people, like by the standards today, those are huge. And for these fucking, the also with the magic thing is these are a lot of fruity celebrities. You already know that everybody already knows this. Gwyneth Paltrow had Goop. I don't know if you ever saw the Netflix thing of Goop with Gwyneth Paltrow. In fact, I might go watch it again. It's really funny. But that's just everyday practical magic. Like they all believe in that. Everybody believes in this stupid shit, but they don't believe in it. It's an amazing you just got blurry. It's an amazing like liminal state of you believe, but you're like, that's not a thing. Like you already told me you believe in angel numbers, motherfucker. You don't believe in the like. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not even something that I would put any kind of like glamour or stock into, because it's how baseball players have their little rituals, and when they go up to bat.
Well, baseball, it's a Masonic compass. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and so it's just superstition. It really is, because you don't know why you were successful. Nobody can figure out why Gwyneth Paltrow just happened to hit when all the other
she blew Harvey willingly of her own accord. That's what
right. Yeah, but like why did she resonate? Like why did she resonate when other actresses didn't? There's no science to it. Nobody knows like what is going to be a hit and what isn't. Particularly now. And I remember Max Landis saying like 10, 15 years ago, like he goes, you don't realize how much trouble Hollywood is. And this is 15 years ago, like saying, nothing can open a film anymore. And this is why it just became all like Marvel sequels, because like stars can't open a film. I mean, I remember going to Redbox. Remember Redbox in the supermarkets, and you would see all these films you never heard of, like, Meryl Streep and Bruce Willis and Mel Gibson, all these big stars are in these direct-to-video movies. So,
well, yeah.
So here's the other thing too, though. It's like they set up the spoil system in Hollywood, in the music industry, in comedy, where like you either have it all or you have absolutely nothing, right? I mean, particularly
stand up. I would say if you're funny at it, you could live, and I do.
Okay,
and I'm not like, how am I gonna make but I don't have money. I mean, I'm also dumb as hell business wise, so I don't put it on comedy like that. But a fuck up like me could get by actually fine, really. But there is a lot when you start the whole first part of it, but you're not in a band. It's all on you, So and you really just got to be funny and write a joke. For some reason, it's the hardest thing in the world for people. They'd rather do anything but the actual making a joke.
Comedy isn't pretty, man. It's hard work.
You have to not have an ego. Here's what happens. You have to learn how to dissolve your fucking ego and kind of become the room and expand your domain around all the people in the crowd. So if they lash out at you, how could they hurt you? You're the room. You have to fucking do that mentally. And it's one of the hardest things ever, because when you get into it, people that have a compulsion to do that, anybody, like I don't love it. It's a lust that I have. I have a dirty, like if I was a guy that had to jerk off in Waymos and I couldn't stop, okay, like I wouldn't call that love. Comedy, the business, that's when you see these videos of people complaining, like Rogan's Sphere has killed comedy. What are you talking about, you dipshits? Comedy is a stupid fat whore with a lot of tattoos and 3 kids of various races who fucks everybody but you. She's a dumb bitch. Don't ever respect comedy.
Well,
Comedy's a
I want
dirty
to
thing
tell you a
gotta do.
story. I want to tell you a story because, you know, again, I'm much older than you, but a buddy of mine, his uncle was a comedy producer, and I don't know if it was HBO. I think it was HBO. He produced comedy specials for HBO. I remember going to see a taping of Richard Belzer in
No shit. I know his daughter.
yeah. He was it wasn't funny. Like I don't think he had good writers, because that guy was always friggin' hilarious when he was on Stern. Like his improvisational wit was just like so fast. But anyway, so I remember like he took us out. I was out in LA and he took us out to Caroline's one night. And actually
Wait, Caroline's in New York. Comedy store?
No, wait, what's the one that was on Melrose?
That's Improv.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm old, and
Melrose Improv. Yep.
And it was a long time ago. So we went out to the Improv, and actually Jerry Seinfeld showed up and did a set, and he was very funny. And this was like this was 1990, so this is just at the beginning of like his ascendancy. There were two comics who did, like, I'm not kidding, the funniest sets I've ever seen any comic put on. One guy was named Monty Hoffman, and the other guy was named Hugh Fink. And
I know you think, yeah.
This is like 35 years ago.
Did they become writers? Because Hugh Fink became a writer, I'm pretty sure, didn't he?
But they were so like, I'd never laughed so hard in my life. And everybody in the friggin' room is looking at me because I'm basically going into like convulsions. I'm laughing so hard.
Sound like writers. They sound like they became writers. That's what I did a lot.
Well, neither one of them became big. And I'm like thinking, like, I was like, oh, this is really exciting. Like these two guys are going to be superstars. It's like the next Sam Kinison and the next, Dice or something. Or whomever, Hugh Fink is more like a Woody Allen kind of guy. So it's like, here's the next, Sam Kinison, the next Woody Allen or whatever. So incredibly funny. And their careers never went anywhere.
Well, I think they went into writing, and you can make good money as a writer. And
well, God bless. I mean, if that's what they did. But what I'm trying to say,
by the way, that's the better way. The thing where you were out in front like that. Now I really understand how much you don't want that. You don't want to be a falling Lucifer. Oh, shine. That's what that bullshit system is. Yeah. And so,
but that's why these people get into all this occultism and the Satan, and, and even Scientology, because you get like this sort of instant support network. I mean, it's always like a sick and exploitative support network, but you have people,
and run by the CIA too. So that's
right. Yeah, exactly. So I think with, the way that Diddy was able to get so many people on the hook is that he had the keys, it's like,
the keys to Enoch, which is always a bad thing if someone has that.
It's like, do you want to be a star? Do you want to be just,
I'll give you the keys of Enoch. Yeah.
Do you want to be a SoundCloud rapper? What do you want? Do you want everything?
Dude, that's standard business practice. Here's what the secret is. I'll tell all, because, actors are whores, and everybody's a whore. You're a whore. Shut the fuck up about your morals about Saudi Arabia. You Dubai porta potties. Most of you would pay your own way to audition for Netflix. You dumb whores. Here's why something's successful and not. What I think now at this point is not fucking mystery. Same reason why a boy band is successful. Who puts together boy bands? Who do boy bands ostensibly appeal to? Little 13-year-old girls. Well, I don't think they got no business sense to pick out the boy bands. But you know who does? Old pederass who know what a little girl likes, and they know the innocence but sexuality. Old fucking creeps who understand sexually what's going to appeal on a subconscious level to their demographic. That's who puts boy bands together. Harvey Weinstein.
Lou Pearlman,
yeah, who put together all of them. Dude, go back. I mean, like everything else, go back and look at all of them, and you're going to be like, oh my God. You can't get your head around the enormity of the issue. So Harvey Weinstein, great movies he put out. What was his eye? I want to fuck them, and there's a reason I want to, because this looks like a girl from school I wanted to fuck, and that eye of who you'd want to fuck is number one for success. But because of the effects outshining, and also not putting the, part of the star system was the sexualizing of the property, which is the star, the stupid whore property, who volunteers for it over and over and is on drugs like a racehorse or whatever the fuck. Once they were like, you can't, Harvey Weinstein times are done. That's the end of the star system. Because now you're putting on chicks nobody wants to fuck, and dudes that don't fucking, women don't want to fucking. That's how that's crumbling more than anything else. It was a system for by perverts, for normies and other perverts. But it's always,
I bet it was that way back in ancient Greece. I mean,
Of course, that's why the theater was the devil's thing, and that's why women weren't allowed to be in it. Besides, gay guys ran it, and they were like, "We don't want tuna stinking up our stage." Besides that, it was because they know that you're a whore if you're an actor. They know what it is. So it's only in this bizarro land of the plumed serpent where we have glorified the idea of being an actor to the point that George Clooney writes an op-ed, and the dipshits that I know in Hollywood still think it's kind of his fault Biden dropped out. They think it was up to the Clune dog at the end of the day. That's the level of retard fucking mind control that America's under. I watch it nonstop, and I can't.
Wait. Let me just ask you a quick question. I saw a video with Clooney a couple months ago, and he was looking like super frail, like really thin, and
the adrenochrome shortage. I don't know.
Is that what it is?
That's silly talk. It could be Ozempic is really
Ozempic.
I mean, Megyn Kelly looks like was just rescued from a camp and put makeup on her. I mean, holy shit, Megan, you didn't need Ozempic. You think of all the dysphoria these people have. So it's a weight loss drug comes out. Now, Ryan Seacrest, they say that about, and as a guy that, I mean, I'm sure you know more than me about all this shit. You ever see people like, oh, Ryan Seacrest, they got to him. Like, he might just be sick and he doesn't want to say because insurance wouldn't cover him and he wants to work. Kathleen Turner, remember she got fat, and I kind of admire her for this because she got like really fat looking all of a sudden because she's on steroids because she had like lupus or something. But she wanted to be able to work, so she didn't tell people, so she just let them call her fat and whatever. And so when you see somebody like that, I know from knowing Artie Lang so well that if you have a massive health problems, everybody's got to keep a secret for you because the insurance is like, we're not covering this.
Let me just say, I think Artie is one of the best natural comics of all time.
I
just want to say that. I just want to put that in there.
I used to driving home with him after me and Shad's old podcast. Dude, we would be crying. Like Artie's to hang out is one of the funniest people I've ever hung out with my entire life. And not even like the kind of laughing where you're joking with like a friend in a while, so the jokes wouldn't even make sense to nobody. But immediately that rapport, that's how funny he is. Oh, that's how he can get drugs anywhere he wanted, anytime.
He's an amazing comic.
I gotta wrap up, dude. Yo, this is great. Okay. I really appreciate it.
No, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I've been following your work for a long time, and especially the work you did with Kyle was just absolute genius.
Oh yeah, dude. Kyle's I want. Okay, let me just read these before we go though. Donald Smead says cattle mutilation was for three things: Satanism, to scare the curious away from nuked areas, and to test fast-growing tissue for radiation poisoning. Oh, that's interesting. I would just file those under Satan. Just means the adversary. It's a position. It's not the name of the guy who is. It's a position.
It's the empire. So, if you read the Gospels, every time they talk about Satan in the Gospels in the New Testament, it's referring to the state. It's referring to the occupying powers. Yeah, the empire.
I had to read the Bible a lot growing up, like 20 times, not because I wanted to, and but when they say, "Oh, Satan will take over the world," no, the world belongs to Satan. They're like, "Well, I don't believe in God because the world's like this." You don't live in God's world, motherfucker. I'm just telling you the lore of the book. You live in Satan's world. That's why he offered the kingdoms to Christ in the story.
Exactly.
Because
it's exactly right.
It's not yours. It belongs to the dragon, and that's why all these gross people. De Vere's sad, but King Charles traces his lineage to a dragon, and Muhammad and Dracula, and these bloodlines have losers too. And because they're so dragony, they believe in Game of Thrones logic, which is like, if you're weak, you should die in the street, right?
Yeah, the reptilian mind. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Napoleon Susrando says Napoleon used to say he could see a red star at night that would guide him, but no one else could see it. It was probably a ginger. He said the star would visit him in the form of a little red man. Really weird stripe. Yeah. I mean, it just a kid that wrote the Nephilim look like clowns, and I'm like, don't you think that might have been gingers, which are nature's clowns? Okay. And I say it's because those from India clowns that are white face with red lips, it looks like almost insulting racial caricatures of a redhead by people in India that hadn't seen that, almost like a minstrel show where it's ridiculous looking. I'll bet you that's their racist interpretation of people with red hair. How much you want to bet? All right. $1 Million Trooper. George H.W. Bush was on Halcyon. Dissociative? I've heard of Halcyon, and I don't know. Probably. I'm sure he was.
Isn't that an antipsychotic?
Yeah, because you dissociate. But Halcyon, I don't know that, but I I really kind of remember it being that. I always thought angel dust was just like really shitty ketamine, but maybe I'm wrong about that too.
Angel dust is, I did angel dust inadvertently one time. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. Horrible drug, horrible experience.
Oh, yeah. I never tried. I've never been.
I don't recommend it. No, it takes all, first of all, like it takes all the color out of the world. Like everything just looks black and white.
Imagine getting addicted to that like people at Benadryl trip, and you're like, oh God. The worst, the one that Jacob's Ladder is based on, that when the military arsenal arms.
Yeah.
This one was evil. LSD, never mind those experiments. They did concentrated fucking Benadryl experiments where people are peaking on a Benadryl trip for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Do you know how, I mean, oh my God. That's one of the worst, I can't even imagine a hell worse than that, of what that must have felt like. I've never done the Benadryl thing, but I've never heard a good review of it from anyone. Mike says, you ever heard of What If Alt Hist? He's been on Timcast and Dad Saves. The show I sold is to the people from the Dad Saves the World podcast. It's called The Cutout. It's like The Office. It's about a cutout. The dude claims to be some left-handed wizard possessed by Odin and could be a fun guest. You know, I would talk to that kid. Now, let me tell you something.
He is a kid. He's like 22 years old. Yeah.
I know. I call them all kids because, first of all, his name's Rudyard, and that's already not a good sign of his background. You name your kid Rudyard, that's for some weird ass reasons.
You want your kid just beat up every day in school.
Yeah, and also your family's into some like Odin. There's something like what does Zimbabwe used to be called? Like you yearn for the days of Rhodesia kind of people call their kids Rudyard. Also, he said his mom, he was doing a bunch of I don't know, hallucinogens. He like a kid with clear autism, guy with clear autism, talking about history, and clearly a smart person. He's not getting stuff right. He's a 20-something-year-old making videos. But someone that you're like, oh, if they learned a lot of stuff, they'd be pretty smart. And then he got into psychedelics. I'm really condensing it. And he started, and then he had a couple really interesting videos because it clearly must have expanded his mind in some way. And he would talk about the Monroe Institute and all that shit. And he did. I thought he had interesting thoughts about it when he first talked about it. Then he kept doing them as if they were a spiritual thing, which I don't think you're supposed to do them like that, if at all. And they start saying how his mother used to tell him, because his mother said she was a witch, and she told him his penis belongs to her, which sounds very Kyblee or Kybell of her.
It sounds a little bit Oedipal, more like it.
Oh yeah, but I'm sure his mom did say it to him. His name's Rudyard. Okay.
It's like you're already 10 steps behind.
Yeah. Paul Adams, did you see Christianity Today is running an op to discredit the satanic panic? This dude, Mike Cosper, has a whole pod debunking it. Wait, I don't understand if you mean to say they're enforcing the satanic panic is a real thing, or because I say the satanic panic is just cover for some very foul shit from bad people that, just like we worked with in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we would bring boys to a warlord. They do that. Whatever we do to another country, you bet your ass they're going to do it to you, motherfucker, and they do.
Yeah, Operation Phoenix, right?
When you hear the cartels, who the CIA runs, and they have since the 90s, everyone, this is already known. All the crack, all that was all from the CIA on fucking purpose. Yeah. W's dad headed that op up.
Look what they did to Gary Webb, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about it. Okay, let's see. Is this it? Hit the like button. No, that's a good one. Okay. All right, that's all the chat's done. Hold on. What now?
Can I just put in a plug for my book before we
Please do. I would like you a copy of your book as well.
Yeah, send me your address.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely like that.
The X-Files, Conspiracy Culture, and the National Security State. Brand new book. Big tome. Lots of information, and it's all about all the stuff that was going on. Like in the 90s, I have these year by year for each season.
The 90s are a key time. That's why I want to read this so bad, dude. Definitely. The 90s are the height of it.
But I also talk about like human experimentation and MK Ultra and stuff that's even worse than MK Ultra, if you can believe it.
I can. I know two people that I'm pretty sure were in that, and one of them has no memory since before she was 15. And
I think we all are now, brother.
Yeah, MK retard. It's the mass rollout. Yeah. No one can remember nothing. No one can remember anything. It's crazy. Okay.
Well, there's all sorts of. Here's the thing. The whole. I was talking about the satanic Temple guy, right? He was in with what was called the False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
Yeah,
First of all,
right.
it was just filled with pedophiles and MK Ultra heroes.
Mhm.
But you're saying like, oh well, this whole idea that people wouldn't remember this. It's like you can just give somebody alcohol and they won't remember what happened. I mean, there's a
Doesn't
whole
hold up at all.
There's a whole list of drugs that can induce amnesia that have been known since like the 19th century. And you're telling me like you can't induce, if you've got some sort of test subject, especially if it's a kid, you can't induce amnesia in them. It's just like, where's
if
your
you know
science,
anyone
dude?
personally who has been abused in that way, or just abused at all, there's an age where it happens, and a part of you freezes at that age, whether you're in any program or not. A part of you freezes at that age forever. And I've known a lot of people. A friend of mine that's a writer, I remember he was like hanging out with some girl that was like, it was like one of these like tattooy girls that was hot. She really liked him, but she didn't want to fuck, that whole friend thing. And I go, dude,
Friend
that girl,
zone.
yeah, I'm like, but what you're describing to me, that girl got viciously sexually assaulted, and so now she essentially is split into a single mom of her as a whatever age that happened, and so she makes the dumb decisions of the mom who allowed the daughter. Like
well, that's Anne Heche too. I mean, Anne Heche is the same way. I mean, getting back to what we were talking about with Anne
yes,
Heche, I mean,
that's right.
She was abused by her father, and she developed like dissociative personality. She called Celestia. And she invented her own language and all this kind of stuff.
Not good signs of a good home life when you invent your own language and name, and you.
Yeah, it's like you probably.
Like, what's your proof that Jeffrey Dahmer's dad, and his dad, if Jeffrey Dahmer's dad wrote in a book. They changed it on Kindle since then, but his dad was heavy into he was a scientist into complete control of another human being, and he hypnotized a 5-year-old girl across the street when he was 12 to do sex shit. He wrote it in his book. Dahmer's father.
Oh my God.
So now I can't
I
remember.
I believe it.
Of course. Here's my proof. His son's a fucking gay cannibal. So I'm going to guess that his dad did some shit.
Well, Anne Heche played, dude, it's so funny. Like all these things coming together. Anne Heche played Dahmer's mother in My Friend Dahmer. Did you see that film?
Yes, the old one, not the newer one with the American Horror Story guy.
No. The one from like, I don't know, 4 or 5, 10 years. I don't even know how long ago was it. There's a guy who done a guy named Derp, John Backdurf. It was a cartoonist, and he did a graphic novel called My Friend Dahmer, and it became made into the movie, and Anne Heche plays his mother in it. So it's just like too many things are sort of congealing together.
I wonder if he put together that his friend's dad was a psychopath MK Ultra hypnotist who all but said MK Ultra, definitely the hypnotist and mind control part. It was almost like, these psycho parents that I know a few people this happened to, where their parents wrote a book about raising their kid. Especially like Kanye West's mom wrote a book, Raising Kanye, that crazy bitch. If your parents wrote a book about what a great job they did raising you, they are complete psychopaths. And this guy is such a psychopath. He wrote a book about himself after his son was a cannibal killer, because that motherfucker was proud that he completely controlled something. And he says it. The thing that it sounds like I made it up, dude, but it's in the book. But back in the day, I wouldn't have fucking bothered to look twice or think about it. I don't even know what the fuck I'd be into, but it wouldn't have been. Just now in life, am I like, wait a minute, with all these things, just now? I don't know. All right, that's Derp Kurp. Chris, fucking great talking to you, man. I'm really glad you came on. Please send me your book. All right, everybody, that's the show. You just got derped.